Welcome back to the Combat Sports Media YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach. It's supposedly supposed to take place at the Barclays Center, I believe, on March 1st. For, I'm assuming, Gervonta's WBA lightweight world title. But I'm not sure about that. Now, as far as my thoughts on this fight is, I guess, if this was like a regular HBO World Championship or Showtime World Championship boxing event, I wouldn't mind it. But we all know it's not only going to be Gervonta Davis's annual fight that he has once a year, but it's also going to be at a pay-per-view, I'm assuming, because that's what all his fights are. And if you're going to be charging pay-per-view, I believe that the matchups and the opponents should be premium. But whatever, it's neither here nor there. I'm not even too concerned about that aspect of it. But what I am concerned about is, hold on one second. Sorry about that. But what I am concerned about is the trajectory of Gervonta's career going forward. And not only is he fighting once a year, which I'm not too much of a stickler for, like a lot of other fans and pundits or whatnot, but if you are going to do that, at least make sure the fights that you are fighting in are top-notch and important and matter. Like Keith Thurman is a good example of somebody like that, or was a good example of somebody like that back when he used to fight. He would fight once a year on average. A lot of times he would go a few years without fighting. But no matter what, even if he was like towards the very end of his career, or back in the day when he was fighting Porter and the likes of Danny Garcia, every time he fought, it was a fight that actually mattered. It was not a fight, once he became champion, I'm talking about. I'm not talking about before he became champion, when he pretty much spent 5 years fighting Jesus Soto Carras, But once he became the real WBA lineal champion, all his fights after that, even though he fought once a year, were all fights that mattered. The Pacquiao fight, the Danny Garcia fight, the Shawn Porter fight, you name it. But unfortunately, that's not what Gervonta Davis is doing and has been doing. He's already, 30 years old, or at near 30 years of age. At the very least, he might even be a little older than that, I'm not sure. But I'm assuming he's about 30. And he only has 1 or 2 marquee matchups in his resume. And that's, of course, Ryan Garcia, who in many people's eyes has an asterisk because of the rehydration clause and whatnot. And it was the other fight, which was a meaningful fight, was when he first became a world champion against Pedraza, winning the IBF 130-pound championship belt. So my critique on this fight is that because it's his annual fight, and sorry about that. I believe that the opponent should be more of like a name opponent or a marquee opponent. But it is what it is. As for the fight is concerned, Lamont Roach is a little taller than him. Traditionally fights in the 130-pound weight class. And he's a sharp fighter. Lamont Roach is a sharp fighter. He's an orthodox stance, I believe. And he has good defense, very smooth. And when he throws, it's got speed on it, and sharp. Now, he doesn't have a lot of power. He only has about 10 knockouts, I believe, out of the 20-something wins that he has in his career. Mind you, he only has one loss, and that's against, I forget his name, ex-Marine, top-ranked fighter. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But he, and he's, I believe, also the current WBA 130-pound champion. So, you know, he's doing good for himself right now. Good little fighter. Sharp. That's the best way I can describe Lamont Roach. Sharp. Like I said, short, his punches are crisp. They're fast. They're accurate. However, like I said, not a lot of power. And he doesn't tend to throw combinations often. And when the opponent tends to go off on him and start barraging him with punches, he just mainly focuses on just defense and not so much hitting you back. But his defense is sharp. Like, he is making you miss for the most part, and he's blocking and parrying and slipping. But it's just his counter punching. I guess I'm trying to say his counter punching ability isn't the best. And when you throw combinations against him, you don't really have to worry about him coming back at you too much. And he, like I said, lack of combinations. He doesn't throw a lot of combinations, which, you know, if you're somebody that doesn't have a lot of power, you want to make it up with volume traditionally, or at least with some combinations. Like Leo Santa Cruz is a good example. Leo Santa Cruz never had a lot of power even when he was in the lower weights, but he made up for it. He more than made up for it, because he would drown his opponents with activity and volume. Now, I'm not saying you got to be like that, but Lamont Roach should, in my opinion, implement a little more combinations than he does. Like, other than that, he's got good feet, you know. And the rest, you know, he's good. You know, that's the best way I can describe him. Sharp fighter, with good feet, good hand speed, but not a lot of power and not too many combinations. And that combination is not good. That's not a good combination. So anyway, let's move on to Gervonta Davis. Now, Gervonta is, I believe, he's going to be 2 inches shorter. However, he's used to that, and he's fought as high as 140, and he's currently the WBA lightweight champion in the world. So, I don't see that being an issue for him. He's fought taller people than Lamont Roach before, and has knocked them out. So, yeah. Gervonta Davis, fantastic fighter. Good hand speed. Again, like Lamont Roach, not too many combinations. However, unlike Lamont Roach, he's got the power, baby. He's got the one-hitter quitter. And he's got speed on that, especially that left hand. But he can punch with both. Has almost 100% knockout ratio. Has knocked out the likes of Jose Pedraza, Ryan Garcia, Rolando Romero. Like Lamont Roach, he's also got good defense, despite what people say. Gervonta Davis's defense is underrated. I believe when he does get hit, it's always when he's walking the opponent down and when he doesn't really respect the opponent's power. That's the only times when he gets touched up a little bit. And we know what the outcome of that always is. It's a knockout victory for him. But when you look at his defense when he's on the back foot, or when he actually has respect for the opponent's accuracy and or power, his defense just kicks into a whole nother level. It actually reminds me of James Toney a little bit. I'm not even joking. Gervonta Davis has like old school defensive skills, man. Take a look at that Pedraza fight again if you don't believe me. He displayed some pretty good defense in that fight. Reminded me like a little James Toney a little bit. You know, very good upper body movement. something that he moves away from against some opponents. Like we saw none of that when he was fighting Leo Santa Cruz. But